Hello, I'm Pam Carruthers, a Soul Astrologer at healingstars.com, and this is a celebration of the Autumn Equinox, and this is when the Sun moves into the sign of Libra, and I've called it Balancing Feminine Power. As you can see on this beautiful tarot card, the illustration here, we do have two goddesses, and this is the Justice card in the tarot, the scales of justice, the balancing time of the year. So what is it this time of year? The equinox means equal day and night. So there's 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. So it's as if the sun is standing still, as seen from the earth, because it's going to move direction south. So we're descending into darkness in the northern hemisphere, but we're ascending into the light in the southern hemisphere. So it is a time when seasons change. It's a turning point. Libra is one of the 4 cardinal signs signifying action. The others are Aries, that's the spring equinox, Cancer, the summer solstice, Libra, autumn equinox, and then Capricorn, the winter solstice. And at this time of year, this turning point, the chart is very connected to mundane astrology, which is to do with countries, and it stands until we look at the winter solstice chart. So it's a good 3 months, this chart. That's why it's important. Now Libra is an air sign. It's the symbol of the scales. It's the 7th sign in the zodiac, and the 7th house in your birth chart is to do with relationships, your mirror. So it's a time also for us to, all of us, be aware of our projections. What we see outside of ourselves. Is that a shadow, or is that something that we adore and we love? It's ruled, Libra, the sign, by Venus. Now Venus, the planet, is the goddess of love. So what is love? It's relationships, it's the arts, diplomacy, balance, harmony and justice. That's the qualities of Libra. And Librans are known for diplomacy and seeing both sides of an argument. And this is where the Justice card in the tarot is so relevant. This is a beautiful illustration, I believe, that really exemplifies the partnership and the relationship quality, the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine within each and every one of us, not just in the other sex, the other gender. And this is the chart. It's set for London, and it is at 21:04 British Summer Time, Friday 22nd of September. Now this chart, I've set it for London because I live in the UK, but also it's British Summer Time, notice that if you're looking from somewhere else in the world. And I use the colour wheel because I believe it's a very easy way to see the signs and to connect them. And I use that every single time I do a newsletter about a full moon or a new moon. We have just had a new moon. That was on the 20th of September at 6:29 in the morning, again British summertime. And this chart is very similar to that new moon. So we've got another quality about a turning point. The sun at the equinox standing still for about 3 days for this energy to shift. So it's the day before, 21st, 22nd and the 23rd. And it's never a good time to start a project at a new moon because the moon is invisible. However, here we have Friday night, and the moon, if you notice, is with Jupiter. I just point that out because it's important to notice where the moon is each monthly cycle. And if you have a clear night where you are, you will see that moon next to Jupiter. And Jupiter is quite bright in the sky. So look out for that crescent moon. So coming back to the chart, the sun in Libra. Now the sun in Libra, here it is down here in this green sector, has just moved past Chiron. So it's still very relevant. Here's Chiron. It's retrograde at the moment in the sky at 26 degrees. Chiron in Pisces is it goes through Pisces. It takes a long time for Chiron to move through Pisces. It's almost 10 years. It can move through Virgo in about 18 months. So there are huge numbers of people on the planet at this time who are born with Chiron in Pisces. Now it's a 50-year approximately orbit, so it registers in your birth chart at the age of 50. You've done one complete cycle of Chiron. And Chiron, for all of us, is about healing wounds. So it's the wound that we have that we can heal others, but also inadvertently we can wound others. I have got a whole tutorial about webinar on Chiron. So if you sign up to my newsletter, then I can let you have that. It's a free gift. Now, Chiron in Pisces is a feeling of being forsaken by God. There is no God. And that's, to me, that's the worst possible feeling that we as humans can have, that total disconnection. So when we're connected, when we're back in our body, we can feel. We can feel the pain of the world, but we can also send out healing energy. And Pisces, where Neptune currently is as well, is very relevant at this particular autumn equinox. And the events in the world that we've all been witnessing or experiencing have been truly deep wounds to the psyche of the nations involved. I'm thinking of Mexico, the earthquakes there, horrendous experience for people. I'm thinking not so long ago of the Grenfell Tower disaster in London, that huge fire. I'm thinking, of course, of the hurricanes that have decimated these beautiful islands, Hurricane Harvey, Irma, Maria. People haven't lost lives necessarily, but they've lost everything, their whole lives. Now this is very deep, as I said, to the wound of the psyche of those small islands and their people. And then, of course, looking at India and Bangladesh and all those people being, it's genocide. What is going on, people say? What is going on? So prayer is a very good way of healing. And I particularly want to bring that up because it's very much to do with the healing energy that is inherent in the sign of Pisces. That connection, we are all one on this planet. We're not separate. And that exactitude was on the 17th of September. Now the positive energy at this time is Venus in Virgo, because it's ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is exalted. So if you notice, you must have already seen it, but here's Venus, Mars and Mercury in Virgo. Venus just moved into Virgo this week, and it stays there until it moves into its own sign on the 14th of October. Venus is never far from the Sun. Venus can only be in the same sign as the sign before or the sign after. So every year at the equinox, it's important to notice, where is Venus? What is her message? She is the goddess. So as I've said, the crescent moon tonight, look out for it. You have to look west, that's where all planets set. And notice you'll start to see that moon gaining in energy as the month progresses. We have also at this time Jupiter. I'll talk about this later. Jupiter is opposite Uranus. That's an ongoing opposition. Jupiter takes a year rather, to go through a sign. So Jupiter is ending its tour of duty in Libra, but its final thing is to go, yay, opposite Uranus, the planet of change. So that's very close, extremely close, as you notice. I've also highlighted healing deep issues, because at this important time of year, Pluto, which is retrograde, is making a trine virtually exact to Mercury. Now, Mercury can either be the same sign as the Sun, the sign before, the sign after, same as Venus, but it's closer to the Sun, always. Mercury at the moment is behind the Sun, And what that means is when Mercury is behind the sun, let's start. When it's ahead of the sun, it's a scout. It's gathering information. All those emails, all those texted, all those news bulletins, everything that we're in this modern society are inundated with information. So when Mercury moves past the sun, it goes retrograde, moves back, and then it moves forward again as it is now. It's absorbed all that information. So Mercury in Greek mythology is Hermes. And Hermes is the one god that can go in and out of the underworld at will. That's important. So this is Mercury as a therapist. That's also very important at this time. And what does the therapist do? They listen, don't they? A therapist is someone you can talk to in confidence. I work very much as a coach and counsellor and therapist combined. I know it's not what people normally think of as a therapist, as an astrologer, but we are. Now the energies also, I've mentioned the word the shaman, because the shaman does go into the unconscious, and that's what Mercury in the underworld represents. So there are communications that are going on at the moment in the world, in politics, are very intense. And finally, I'm mentioning Mars at the moment, because Mars is opposite Neptune. So Mercury has been opposite Neptune, Mars is there, very relevant, and then Venus will join in. So we're getting a lot of energy through the days, the weeks, of looking at Neptune, looking at oneness. But also, Mars wants to move ahead, that's its nature. It's the planet of war, planet of sex, planet of action and drive for all of us. And Neptune dissolves what it touches. So you may have been feeling that effect over the last week because, first of all, Mercury and Mars came together. That's incredibly stressful. For anyone connected very much to the energy of Mercury, that's Geminis and Virgos especially. But also Neptune, as I said, can be deception. It can dissolve things. So you might have felt low energetically, physically. You don't want to do much, you want to sleep. And there's nothing wrong in that because it's about watching and recognizing your rhythm. There is a time for all of us of resting throughout the year, and this is one of those. Also, I've mentioned passive aggressive, because if we don't stand up for ourselves without anger, we can be passive in that way, not make up our mind. That's the negative side of Libra. Libra, all planets have negative and positive. And Libra's negative is sitting on the fence, which is a very uncomfortable position if you think about it. We're not built for that. So making decisions, having the acuity, using Mercury's energy now to prioritize. I'll be talking more at length later. So also be aware of false promises. That's the negative of the Neptune, Mercury, Mars, Venus, being taken in by something that sounds too good to be true, and it most probably is. Finally, notice the grand trine in this chart. So the North Node here in Leo, just moved, the nodes of the moon have moved backwards, as they always do. They're now in Leo and Aquarius. So Saturn and Uranus are making what we call a grand trine in fire signs. Now Saturn normally is about resistance, procrastination, but it's very positive at this point. It's moving towards the galactic centre. It's already done that because it went retrograde. So Saturn is actually now moving forward, and by the end of the year it will change sign. It will move into Capricorn, its own sign. But here is a time that can be of great healing because it's making positive connections to the nodes of the moon. One of my specialities is to do a chart reading, consultation, with people looking at the nodes of the moon in their birth chart. So if you especially are interested in that, take a look at my website, healingstars.com. because it's very important if you're born with a planet either at a right angle to the nodes of the moon or on the south node or north node. There's a story there. It's a past life story. And I investigate that with clients. It's not a deep hypnosis. It's not, past life regression. It's not that. It's about a part of our minds that has a story that we will be reliving in this life. And once we tune into it, and I use an intuitive method with Chuck Spazzano, my mentor and teacher, it can be healed. The awareness heals all conspiracies.
So here's another classic image of the scales, Libra. So what I'm saying here is, every year, this is happening every year, as the sun passes through an air sign, it can stimulate us to be more mentally adventurous, ready and willing to learn. Also, we can be more impartial and open-minded. This is very much the gift of Libra. It allows us to see many sides to an argument. It's that quality of justice, weighing things up, seeing both sides. So this is an excellent time to channel our angst and frustration, there's that Mars opposition to Neptune, into our creativity. A question, how can we be better partners? That's not just with a romantic partner, but with any partnership, any friendship of any sort. Can we be inspired to find new ways of relating? And this is a month, it's not the calendar month, it's the solar month, to seek cooperation rather than competition. Because competition is when there's a winner and a loser. Now, it's fine in sport, people are up for that, that's what they're into competitions for. However, if it's in a personal relationship, one's the winner, one's the loser will get their own back. They just wait, they will. And the winner, if you're a winner, do you really want to be with a loser? So you can see how unequal that is. So here, air signs are all about communication and the equality. Now this is Venus in Virgo. And I really love this image of Venus in Virgo because she is glowing, is she not? She is very sensual. She's got her corn, I think she's got it, or maybe I think her flame. She's got her flame in her hand there. From September the 20th this year until October the 14th, Venus is in Virgo. And Virgo is an earth sign. So it has that earthy quality to it. Planets in earth signs are physical. They like being touch, earth, think of it, smell, sensation, sensual, all of those things. And Venus is known in astrology to not to be good, shall we say, in Virgo. However, look at the people who have it. Sophia Loren, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Brigitte Bardot, Patrick Swayze, Antonio Banderas, he's really hot, Catherine Deneuve, Leonard Cohen. Now, these people are very charismatic. You cannot say for a minute that any of them lack in sensuality. I mean, Brigitte Bardot was, the pin-up, obviously, a long time ago. And she's now devoted very much to, animals and healing in that regard. The archetypes of Venus in Virgo. The Virgin goddess. Now, this is often people say, oh, it's actually a virgin. Whereas it's about being whole, it's about being complete unto herself. The quality of that is, especially to do with the goddess of the home and the hearth, is, you make a home beautiful just for yourself, not to put on a show for other people. That's the energy of this. It's the healer, very much the herbalist, nutrition is very much also to do with Virgo. Mother Mary, Virgin Mary, I believe, in what I read, was born as a sun sign Virgo. And that's how she got to be the Virgin. The sacred prostitute. Now, this is the whole thing about the Vestal Virgins, the whole story about who they really were. They worshipped the goddess in her temple. And apparently one day a year, they would open the temple so any man could go into the temple and he would be, the woman, the Vestal Virgin, shall we say, would initiate him into the art of lovemaking. They were not prostitutes. There were prostitutes in the town. This was something sacred. So for you, to recognize this, especially if you have Venus in Virgo in your birth chart. So that's what I'm mentioning, the sacred prostitute. Now, the Roman goddess is called Vestia, and she is keeper of the sacred flame. The Greek is called Hestia, very similar. So the energy of the sacred flame, this is the hearth. So Hestia is to do with the hearth. You think about the hearth in a home is the hearth or the heart of the home. So the flame, often that would be literally where the, where the fire was in the home itself. And she's very connected to the energy of Gemini. So the story I remember reading a long time ago when I first studied astrology, it was a long time ago now, about, the traveling salesman would be the Gemini type. And he would need the goddess Hestia. She would keep the home fire burning, so to speak, for him who came in and he stayed and then off he went again. We don't really get the salesman anymore in that regard. But notice that, she is the center of the home, and it's your center of your home. And later on, I'll guide you through a very brief little visualization to help you with that. So Virgo is about discrimination. What do I value? Is my sex life healthy? What am I addicted to? Venus rules sugar. And of course, sugar is sweetness. We all love sugar. Well, I think we all do. I don't think many people not like anything with sugar in. But of course, too much and we'll get an overdose of that sweetness. And diabetes is connected to Venus, by the way. A need for love in the birth chart. I heard on the Archers, forgive me, people outside the UK won't know what I'm talking about. The Archers is it's a radio program. It's been going on forever, and it's all about farmers. And only the other day, one of the characters was talking and actually doing the Marie Kondo method, and it's called The Magic of Tidying. If you go and buy her book, it's very good. But the idea is you go through your home, your office, and you pick up each and every object or item you have, and you ask, does this bring me joy? And if it doesn't, you let it go. You take it to a charity shop, gift it to somebody else, but you let it go. You don't hold on to something that isn't full of joy. So the idea is, if you do that, it can take quite a while. It's not necessarily going to do that in one day. But if you do that, then your home is full of objects that bring you joy. How wonderful is that? So what chakra are we talking about with this Venus in Virgo energy and Mercury and Mars? It's the throat chakra. So this is a diagram I made quite a few years ago. There are different variations on planets and signs in chakras, just so you know. However, this one I think worked quite well. So it starts down the root chakra with Saturn. Then we go up to the creative, the womb area, Jupiter. Makes sense, doesn't it? It expands with babies. Mars is the third chakra, solar plexus, power, of course. The heart is Venus. And Mercury rules the throat. Finally, and this is where systems differ, the sun and the moon in this particular system are governing the sixth chakra. And the crown would be Neptune, by the way. So we have Virgo, Gemini, ruling the throat. And notice, the earth, if you look at, different signs, they go crisscross all around here. But anyhow, what is the throat chakra all about? It's a spiritual chakra. This is taken from Deepak Chopra. It governs the thyroid, the parathyroid, the jaw, the neck, the mouth, tongue, and the larynx. So to be open and aligned in the fifth chakra is to speak, listen, and express yourself from a higher form of communication. Faith and understanding combine the essence of the Vishuddha chakra Forgive me if I have mispronounced that. And the element corresponding to the fifth chakra is ether or space and the sense of hearing. Now, also, do you suffer or have you suffered from problems with your throat? In the system that I've been trained in, the power chakra is the sacral, the solar. That's the first power chakra. But the second power chakra is the throat. And women, I know it's a big generalization, but it's often women at midlife who feel they have no voice. Men can often get heart attacks. But this system, saying, are you being heard? I worked for quite a few years, 3 years, in the newspaper world, and women, the position I was in, it was completely new position. I was the art director of the Sunday Telegraph, but also women weren't ever doing that job. And I often found in my experience going to the meetings every day, one day I made a very good suggestion, I thought. And within 5 minutes, someone else made exactly the same suggestion, a man, and everyone, oh, good idea. And I looked around, I just said that. So that feeling of, as a woman, I wasn't, people didn't take notice of me or my voice. Now, I had a difficult position because on a newspaper, you have a news person, you have a foreign person, you have the city person, everyone has their own domain. As the art director, I was involved in everything, but I wasn't an expert at the news or the foreign desk, etc. So, anyhow, I just thought it was of interest. So the problem, of course, with that can be over-expression of the throat coming out, of course, as anger. This is a very good quote. It was on the Deepak Chopra site, and I thought, wow, that's so good to be reminded of. And a person called Dr. David Simon refers to this ancient wisdom. He says there are 3 gateways you should cross before speaking. First, ask yourself, is what I'm about to say true? If so, proceed to the second gateway and ask, is what I'm about to say necessary? And if the answer is yes, go to the third gateway and ask yourself, is what I'm about to say kind? I know, reading that, at times, definitely, I failed on one of those 3 gateways. We're human, all of us. Of course, we're human. And often if we're stressed or we're caught in fear or something's going on and troubling us, we might not follow that. But it's a good reminder. So the card is from Chuck Spezzano's Enlightenment deck. So you can see this old, there's a phone bridging the differences between 2 people and like the letters in the sky. It's a lovely illustration of little dolphins, down the bottom to bring the energy. And communication is vitally important, of course, in all of our relationships. And being able to speak our truth without it being an attack on someone or some organization. So with Jupiter joining the moon, it's also, this chart, by the way, I haven't said it, it's very much connected to countries, it's mundane astrology. It sets the theme until the winter solstice. So it's a powerfully positive connection to have Jupiter with the moon. So I'm saying this for that reason. So Jupiter, power, purpose. The moon represents our emotions, our home, our mother. Jupiter represents our purpose in the world. The sun is our individual purpose, then Jupiter is far more going outward into the world. That's the difference. Psychologically, it's from this archetype, Jupiter, of benevolence that we derive our self-confidence, our ability to extend our horizons, to take life philosophically, and it's our urge to grow physically, mentally, and spiritually. So the position, of course, in our own, your chart, by aspect, i.e. what else it's connected to, what sign it's in, and what house it's in will indicate your measure, the measure of your faith, your confidence, your self-worth, belief, your buoyancy, your optimism, and luck. So Jupiter, the world, it's the world card in the tarot. I love the connection of tarot and astrology, as hopefully you can tell that. So this Jupiter opposite Uranus is the third time coming up. It's a time for change. And that's why this is an Osho card. It's a very good card. It shows you that swirling energy that change is. And if you think about the hurricanes they are, of course, appalling, but they have created a massive amount of change to the people whose lives they've touched. Things will never be the same again. And although there may be not that many deaths, the devastation is huge, isn't it? It's massive. So something has to change. Now, Jupiter is truth. Jupiter is our guardian angel. It is the wheel of good fortune. What comes up does come down, though. That's the nature of the cycle. And as you can see, Uranus is creative. It's the urge for freedom. Uranus doesn't have morals. It's change for change's sake. And the sign connected to Uranus is Aquarius. And all signs have negatives and positives. So the negative of Aquarius will be, very cut and dried. It's a mental sign. And it's quite fixed. So it can be, caught in this is right, and there's no openness to it, and it can be quite cold. But anyhow, combining Jupiter's energy, I think can be positive. So if we go towards Jupiter, which is still in Libra, about to change soon, we're going to Scorpio soon. So if we say, what does Jupiter ask of me? What do I seek? What opportunities are available? What doors are opening? Jupiter is very fast moving compared to other major planets, every 12 years. So it's moving fairly fast. So it's about seize the day. Carpe diem is Jupiter. So Jupiter is saying, it urges us to reach higher goals, to seek expansion. So this energy, this opposition, you might find in your life, depending on where that is in your birth chart, you might want to expand, etc. Are you stuck in the sense of there's somebody out there who won't budge, in the fixed energy of the Aquarian energy there? So it is about higher knowledge and growth and travel. I know people at the moment who are really traveling, very long distance. A friend of mine, she's an Aquarian, and she's studying yoga in the Himalayas. I mean, wow, how extraordinary. So another friend of mine going to Vietnam. Wow, another Aquarian, as it happens. So this energy of higher education and the company of wise teachers, because that's what other cultures, of course, can teach us. So new chances, new opportunities, seize the day. And that's the theme of the Jupiter energy. So there's an affirmation for the tarot card, the Justice Tarot card. And here are two illustrations. On the left, you see that's the Rider-Waite pack. It's a very interesting card in itself. There is the sword and the scales of justice. It relates to the High Priestess. Interesting, because here there are two pillars. High Priestess has two pillars. And here, though, there's a veil. There's a veil hiding. What is behind that? So this is the goddess Mart, and she is to do with weighing. This is the death, after death, where your heart gets weighed. Is it a feather or is it heavy? So this is a very deep card, of course, in symbology. So the affirmation, I am balanced and able to understand the outer manifestations of my inner issues and subsequently take the correct actions with honor. There's a lot of integrity about justice. It is very much the fairness of justice. And I noticed, there's a beautiful Facebook excerpt the other week. I remember seeing it. It was a really wonderful judge, extraordinary man. And he actually asked the daughter of this woman who I think had got a fine for a parking ticket or something, and he asked the daughter what she would do. And he listened to the daughter, and judgment was the woman got off with a warning, the mother. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. The wisdom of the wise judge, not to punish someone, but to, give them a little, come on, a little rap on their wrist, say, come on, don't do that again. So loving oneself and self-attack is a little theme I'm just going to show a few slides about, because this is where Virgo can be not so good. It can be nitpicky, all right? It can be perfectionism. That's the Virgo energy here at this autumn equinox. Self-attack, beating yourself up. And Oprah Winfrey says, amongst other people, take care of yourself. Tend to your mind, your body, your spirit every day. Honor yourself and your relationships will blossom. So I'm saying be aware of self-attack, because this comes from the ego. The ego never wants us to grow. It wants us to stay safe, and that means the known, not the unknown, because it knows the known. Do things always the same way you've always done them and you'll be safe. So the self-attack always comes, well, not always, but can come as you're about to take a leap forward in your life. You get into self-attack and then doubt. So how well are you doing? Have you been judging your performance after you did something that put you in the spotlight? Have you been telling yourself off about how you haven't done enough this week? That's very much the Virgo. And it's also Saturn's energy, by the way. It's that on the more practical level, more personal level, we've got 3 planets in Virgo at the moment. Perfectionism. I worked, as you know, on a newspaper, and the good news about working on a newspaper, I did work on a launch once, you had to finish. You had a deadline. And we did a dummy run once on this newspaper, and there were a lot of holes as it got printed, because journalists hadn't finished filing their copy, or the pictures hadn't been sent through. It was, we all got told off. We all did. And the idea was, come on, you just got to get it out. It might not be perfect, but just produce it. So you can always correct something once you produced it. So self-attack, back to the case in point. Are you sick, or have you had an accident recently? And that can be as simple as falling over and getting a bruise or 2 on your body. That did happen to me not so long ago. Or maybe someone you love is attacking themselves. Does that in turn make you think that you're a failure as a friend, or a lover, or as a mother, a father, a teacher, a therapist? Now, the healing way through is choice. This is the most powerful tool we have in the mind. In its deepest areas, our power to choose will determine the world we see, the relationships we have, and the success we experience. It's a spiritual principle, and it's a good one. Here's the person in the picture. They can go up one way, the ego path, which is, pretty bleak, or they can go the other way through the paradise of the beautiful, green gardens. So if you don't like what's happening in your life at the moment, make another choice. If you find something occurring you don't want, make another choice. And these words are very simple. Just say, this is a mistake. This is not what I want. I do not want this pain, this grief, this stress, or this misery. And what I want is peace, happiness, joy, delight, wonderment, whatever it is that comes to your mind. So you state this as clearly and precisely as possible, because all life is the spiritual evolution towards the realization that we are love. And God is love and created us in the same way. It's another card from Chuck's Bazaar. It's from the Love Pack. And you can see, I don't know which way around it is. Is the woman giving the heart to the man, or is the man just given his heart to the woman? It doesn't matter. It's all about love. So know you are lovable. You are innocent. So not attacking yourself makes you available to hear the calls for help from those around you. It makes you responsive. It allows others to be responsive to you. It allows you to be in flow, where all good things can come to you, and forward movement is easy. No bad thing can happen to you if you give up self-attack. So only when you see yourself through God's eyes, as being lovable and innocent, can you begin to allow yourself the love and success you deserve. So I'm giving this to you because the opposite of Virgo is Pisces. Pisces is the connection to oneness. And so when we move beyond that a self-attack and I'm not doing it right, all those words, going around the mind, and that's the Venus, Mercury, Mars energy. And take a breath, go, all will be well. All will be well. And the last card I have in the presentation is to do with the goddess Hestia. So it's a very brief little visualization. However, I would like it, if you can, if you're not driving a car, of course, if you can, to just to take a moment and just close your eyes and take 3 breaths in and out. So Hestia, this is for women who need a flame of their own, but it can also be true for men. So keeping your eyes closed, I would like you to see, to sense or feel your ideal home. So what would it be? Is it an apartment in a city? Is it a log cabin in the woods? Is it a palatial estate or a cozy nest? Whatever brings you pleasure and joy, create it for yourself in your mind now. Do you need to build it brick by brick? You might enjoy that. It's a project. Or do you want to just wave your magic wand and there it is? Simple. A miracle. Does it sit amid formal English gardens or a field of wildflowers? Is your home, your ideal home, in acres of desert around you? Or have you got rocks? Have you got cliffs? Is it windswept? Create it according to what you need. And though it can always change if you want it to, it's yours. This is your spirit home. This is your home away from home. And it's a place that you can come to whenever you choose. It's there for you when you need it. So tomorrow, 22nd, Friday, it is all day, or I told you earlier, it's 3 days really that we have this energy. So you might like to have a ritual and use the flame as the energy to light a flame candle in your home. Or of course, if you live out, If you've got somewhere you live where you can light a bonfire, even better. But to light that and connect with this inner place, this inner sanctuary that is your home, your spiritual home. You can open your eyes, of course, and look at this beautiful goddess card. She's from a book called The Goddess Oracle. It's a very beautiful book and cards. It's by Amy Sophia Marakinsky and illustrated by Prano Chante. So yeah, the ritual. We all have ways of creating ritual. There are simple ways. You know, a ritual of cooking a meal, the ritual of doing the washing up, for instance, or the ritual. Virgo is very much about cleanliness. So washing, doing the laundry. In my home, when I grew up, it was always Monday. It was always laundry day. And these rituals create the web of our lives. They connect us to the earth energy. They connect us to the energy of the mother and our own mother. We've all grown up with some sort of ritual, some sort of daily routines, whether it's chaotic or whether it's very organized. So thank you for watching. And if you're not already on my newsletter list, I'd love for you to join me because I do these webinars very frequently. And thank you very much for watching.